Hey, Drew Robinson here, and I'm going over the assignment this week with for our class, Liberty University, about freedom versus liberty. So if we look at it, uh, just going to get right into it because we only have a few minutes. So, I most people would say that freedom and liberty are the same, and I honestly think there's really not a ton of difference. All right, but I am going to expound on what some of the differences are here that I noted through the readings. So, freedom is a broader sense; it's unrestrained. As the Hobbes quote there, a free man is not hindered to do what he has a will to do. So you are free. Yeah, I'm free to go out here and rob a bank if I want to, right? But then, in a sense, that can be taken away from me, that freedom to do that, because then I can be incarcerated. But you're free to do all these things. But when it comes to impinging upon other people's own freedom, that's where we get into liberty. Or, like, from my reading, that's what I got from it. So, with the article here, Reflections on Ancient and Modern Freedom, that's where I drew that Hobbes quote from. Now, one of the other articles I read was in our readings was Aristotle's conception as freedom as a rational choice. Now, Aristotle says a little bit different in that freedom is a rational choice. It's what you choose. In that he even makes a reference to slavery. Slaves uh, almost not necessarily they choose it, but they don't have the capacity to be free men. Okay, I think we would disagree with that, but that's what he says in or the article says that Aristotle wrote about. But what I want to get to is that the quote from the article here: Aristotle conceives of freedom as the capacity to direct oneself to those ends which one's reason rightly recognizes as a choice worthy. So it is a personal choice with freedom as he recognizes it with Aristotle. But what I'm trying to get at is it's broader, it's unrestrained freedom. Now liberty is not so much. So let's look at that. So liberty, it's depriving someone else of their own freedom. So you could rob someone or hurt someone. Then that's where you start to get into the this idea of liberty, as Edmund Burke said in this Reflections on Ancient and Modern Freedom. I got it from that quote from there. Is what is liberty without virtue and wisdom? There's a moral element to it. Um, and that's where I get the difference of it from. So when we talk about our civil liberties, the which are guaranteed mostly within the first 10 amendments of our Constitution, a lot of those come from John Locke. The right to life, liberty, pursuit of happiness. So he didn't necessarily say life, freedom, I'm sorry, life, liberty, property. He didn't say life, liberty, and or life, freedom, and property. He said life, liberty, and property. So these are things that it comes. There's a moral element to it, and that it cannot be taken away. So that's what I got from the readings is that you the idea of liberty comes in to where it's it involves depriving someone else. So whereas freedom is just totally unrestrained, I can do whatever. Almost like the way I related this to my students is like the purge. If you've seen the movie, where you can just do anything without any consequences. Liberty, on the other hand, there are consequences with it, and that with the laws of our government is if you impinge upon someone else's own freedoms, then you're going to be you're going to face consequences. And then here is the articles that I read. Now, the last two were in our readings from the course. The first one there is about John Locke, Christian liberty, and so you can read about that and his idea of these natural rights.